dry as the inside of a woodpecker's boarding house.
This week on isletunes, it's a multi-genre look back through 2025 with artists who make pop, anti-pop, anti-ageism awesomeness, Latin lavishness, gothy, folky, punky metal, and a comeback so big it's essentially in the title. You ready for some flashback interviews, PEI? Let's get her done! How's she going, Prince Edward Island? I'm your host, Adam Michael James, and you are listening to the December 26, 2025 episode of the Music PEI Award nominated isletunes. I hope you had a joyful Christmas or Hanukkah, or if you're into the first day of Kwanzaa, hope it's a happy start. If you didn't or don't celebrate any of those things, that's cool too. But this time of year is certainly appropriate to celebrate something, so how about starting with yourself and the fact that you're here and breathing? I mean, imagine the alternative. Also want to give an extra shout out to freedom and democracy. So glad to see that up here in the collective stocking of the Great White North. While I'm at it, thank you, Canada, and thank you, PEI. You've both been very good to me. I don't make New Year's resolutions as a whole, but one thing I resolved to do with this show from the very beginning back in August 2023 was to bring you the widest range of music made by Islanders possible, and this episode isn't about to be any different. As has become a bit of a tradition, the last show of the year is once again a look back at interview guests who have sat for the isletunes microphones the last 12 months, and that includes Zoom microphones, since I've been more heavily relying on that platform. It's also fair to do full disclosure and admit that there hasn't exactly been an interview every episode as I'd intended. They can be challenging to arrange, and I've had much of my time filled with other obligations this year, but what I've got for you, as they say, is church, and representing quite the variety while we're at it, so mandate achieved. Let's kick things off by going back to January when I had the privilege to cover the re-come up of a band I don't exactly have to introduce you to. The original lineup had their first album out in 2005, and man, the impression they made until they broke up in 2013. Songs in American TV shows, touring outside of North America, and there was a little matter of showing up at the Winter Olympics they did. As 2025 started, they pulled up with their first single in 12 years, and though unintended, I ended up getting the scoop on what became the EP that followed. The group is 2 Hours Traffic, and bassist Andy McDonald, also of Golden Cinema, begins this isletunes interview retrospective. The enormity of PEI's music scene is not to be ignored. Even at 73 episodes, isletunes has just barely begun to plumb the depths of the hundreds, if not thousands, of artists that we have here. Yet for all that, it's only so many acts that achieve success off island, much less off country, and to the level that these guys did. Now, never mind the awards, this quartet had videos on Much Music, songs on American TV shows, and gigs in the US and Australia, plus the 2010 Winter Olympics. This winter, they're back for the first time in 12 years. Alterations in the lineup, to be sure, but with the appropriately titled Keep It Coming. Who else could I be talking about except 2 Hours Traffic? And here in the isletunes studio, otherwise known as my basement, through the magic of Zoom, is returning member Andy McDonald to talk to us about all things THT. Andy, it's great to have you here on the show, especially as you're in the middle of release week.
Hey, thanks for having me, Mike. Pleasure. And I really appreciate it.
I appreciate it.
Spreading the word.
Yeah, definitely spreading the word. Not that you guys need the help, but still. I think the biggest question on people's minds would be, what made y'all decide to make new music now after such a long hiatus? And is it just a single or is there an album coming behind it?
Yeah, well, we did a reunion show a number of years back, and I think it might have been 2018, something like that. And we just had a lot of fun playing the old songs again. Then like a year or two later, we decided to do another show just because the last one was so fun. And I mean, Liam and I are always writing songs for whatever project it is, whether it's his solo project or Golden Cinema, which I write for. And so we always have a batch of songs laying around, and then we just started sharing demos back and forth. and with the hope that, well, maybe might get a new song. Next time we play a show, we could sprinkle in a new song. And then we just kind of really got into the groove again of writing songs together. It just ended up being a thing where we started getting together every few weeks to pick away at songs, and it's a very fun process. I think that's the reason I feel like at the end of the day, I keep doing it, is just that feeling of being all together, working on something, making something out of nothing. And we just kind of kept going from there. We're like, well, if we're writing these songs, we might as well record them. I don't know if we've officially said this yet, so it might be breaking some news here. But we're going to be putting out a 6-song EP. We haven't announced the release date yet, but I think probably sometime in May is likely. So yeah, Keep It Coming is one of 6 songs we did. It's been a really exciting week for us because we've been sitting on these recordings for a little while now. They felt like a batch, you know what I mean? So to kind of put that out together as one thing, and then if there is something after that, like a full length in the future or something, that'll feel kind of like the next batch.
Let's turn the clock back to what, 2002, 2003, because there may actually be people who don't know, which would be quite the shocker at this point. How did the band get together, and where did the idea come to pull the name from a line of Shakespeare?
So initially, 2 Hours Traffic was Liam and Alec, and they started playing acoustic gigs together in high school. So they went to Colonel Bray High School in Charlottetown. I went to the rival high school, the Charlottetown Rural. And at that time, Alec and I knew each other well. We'd played in a band together, and I knew that he was writing songs with this guy, Liam, who I played baseball against when I was a kid, but didn't really know him otherwise. And then they started making these little demos, just the two of them. And I was like, they were talking about maybe putting a band together. And at the time I played guitar. So it's like, oh, I'd love to play guitar in the band. Like, I love these songs. And Alec was like, well, I'm playing guitar and Liam's playing guitar. Do you want to learn how to play the bass? So that was my entry into the band. I was just a fan of what they were doing as a 2-piece, and I was excited to kind of join the fold to flesh out some of those songs more full band. And then their friend Derek, who I had never met, Derek Ellis, who's the drummer, he was kind of like learning to play drums, and I was learning how to play bass. And that's when it started. So yeah, I think it was 2002, which is when we all would have started at the University of Prince Edward Island. Once we got to university is kind of when it kicked off.
And the line of Shakespeare, where did that come from?
That was something that Liam and Alec came up together when they were a 2-piece. So, and I think that, the name 2 Hours Traffic, part of that was a little bit of a cheeky kind of, because there was 2 of them at the time, strumming acoustic guitars together. And I think they were studying Romeo and Juliet in like grade 11 or grade 12 in English class. And there is that line, 2 hours traffic of our stage. And I think just the fact that there were 2 of them and that music can't happen on a stage just kind of clicked. And it might have been just a placeholder name, because once there were 4 of us, it's like, well, does this name even fit anymore? But we're just like, that's the name.
Of course, you're only one quarter of the group, and each of you had different feelings and perceptions of the success that you were experiencing. But how, Andy, did it feel for you reaching those kind of heights? I mean, did it blow your mind, or did you sense from the beginning that you guys were going to the top?
No, it was all very surprising. I mean, we were very young starting off in the band, and then the idea of playing a show off island or something seemed very exciting, but maybe not possible, because we're just operating in this little small music scene in Charlottetown, and we didn't know anybody. And then Joel Plaskett played in Charlottetown, and at that time we had recorded kind of a scrappy little EP called The April Storm. I think it was either Liam or Alec that handed him the CD after he played a show at Baba's. And then he ended up writing back and saying, hey, I would love to work with you guys if you'd want to try getting some songs together. And that felt like the step where things started to kind of move in a direction where it was like, wow, this is really exciting. We're all big Joel Plaskett fans. He had us over to Halifax, played a show in Halifax. Then kind of once we got rolling and just like started meeting other bands, suddenly playing around the Maritimes, then playing outside the Maritimes, then all across Canada, then into the US and all the traveling we did. So yeah, it was a little bit of a kind of a slow climb then. And then it kind of like felt like it sort of plateaued at some point. Yeah, no, definitely as just like some kids from PEI, we didn't have a whole lot of lofty ambitions except for just writing songs. It was definitely, yeah, a pretty wild ride. Like looking back now, we were so fortunate to get to do all the traveling we did. And, traveling really, I find, it kind of informs your worldview and just kind of how you look at everything. So we were so fortunate, just all the kind of breaks we got back in the day to travel around.
Yeah, and 23 years later, here you are. I'm speaking with Andy McDonald, longtime member of 2 Hours Traffic, about the history and the future of the band as well. Now, players leave bands all the time. It's legendary. In your case, Alec O'Hanley split off in 2011 and has made quite the name for himself with Always. I know you had Nathan Gill in the band for a while, at the time of your 2013 album, and now Nick Donoff, who's had a thriving solo career here for years. He's rounding out your foursome. How did Nick come to join the band? And had you, Derek, and Liam ever considered just continuing with the three of you? I mean, you wouldn't have been the first band to do something like that.
Yeah, well, yeah, with the lineup changes, I mean, with Alec, that was a tricky one because we were all in it together kind of from the beginning. And yeah, it's amazing what Always has gone on to do. It's like absolutely mind blowing. Yeah, and then after he departed, we kind of thought, well, what should we do? So Liam and Derek and I wrote most of that Foolish Blood album, just the three of us, and really needed a fourth. We were writing those Foolish Blood songs. I was playing guitar, so I'm like, well, I'll just stick on guitar. I'll kind of teach Nathan all these bass lines, and we absolutely had a good time doing that and recording that record. And then we disbanded shortly after. And when we started looking at playing this reunion show, we were looking at who would be a good fit, and it seemed like an absolute no-brainer to get Nick in the fold. It was Liam that suggested him, and he's just an absolute force to have in the band. He can sing, he can play so many different styles of guitar. I think his guitar work on this will really stand out. And yeah, I mean, he's a great guy. He's also got a lot of technical skills when it comes to recording. So he did a lot of the engineering on these 6 songs. He's just been a huge addition to the band. Yeah.
Now, I would be remiss if I didn't mention that you and Derek are also in Golden Cinema, like you had said. Yeah. Now, the most current release there is 2021's Reels. Has there been talk of any new material there? And if not, could firing up the 2 Hours Traffic machine again get those reels turning?
Oh, nice. Yeah, it's tricky with Golden Cinema right now because Chris, the guitar player, lives in Toronto full time. Dan Griffin, who's essentially in the band, he plays keys, although we've never played live together. He lives in Ontario as well. So it's like Derek and I are here. The last batch of Golden Cinema songs we did, Derek and I would work on them here, and we would send stuff back and forth and do it remotely, kind of like that. Even recording wise, we did it remotely, which was fun, but it's just like, I think we need Chris to be home for even a week or something, because I've got a little pile of songs that we've made some demos, but we've just haven't followed through. The 2 Hours Traffic stuff has been a lot more kind of on top of mind, but I'm sure at some point we'll record something else. It's just a matter of the timing being right and people being in the same place. But I guess the way I look at it is just like always writing songs, and then if some fit with 2 Hours Traffic, that's great. If some fit with Golden Cinema, that's great. But I would like to think that we'll do some more Golden Cinema stuff here in the next couple years.
Andy, I'm not the type of person to slap the label of legend on just anybody, but I think all of you in 2 Hours Traffic, including Nick at this point, have earned that superlative. And I'm sure I'm not alone in hoping that this resurgence of the band leads to a new era of records for you. Just as
Thank you.
as the last, if not more. Thank you so much for taking the time out to yap with me, and congratulations on the brand new release. Looking forward to the EP.
Hey, it was a pleasure talking to you. Really appreciate spreading some word, and I love what you're doing. So thanks so much, Mike.
Hi, this is Andy McDonald from 2 Hours Traffic and Golden Cinema, and you're listening to isletunes.
Men in hats keep on coming round. It's been a while since I felt this down. I'm not breaking for no one right now. All the big debts are coming due. It's been a while since I felt brand new. pretend the blinds are down. I listen out for the slightest sound. I'm not breaking for no one right now. Keep it coming. I'm not running away. Not running away. Keep it coming. I'm not running away. Not running away. No matter what they throw, we'll face it like it ain't tough. No matter what comes up. No matter what they throw, we'll face it like it ain't tough. No matter what comes up. Keep it coming. I'm not running. Keep it coming. I'm not running. Keep it coming. I'm not running away. Not running away. Keep it coming. I'm not running away. Not running away. Not running away. Not running away. Not running away.
Keep it coming from 2 Hours Traffic on isletunes, and they most definitely followed their own directive, keeping their music coming after being radio silent for over a decade. The effort didn't end up being some nostalgia tour either. This song got nominated for 2026's Music PEI Single of the Year Award, which is fitting as the EP it's attached to also found itself nominated just for Rock Recording of the Year. We'll see if they win, and if isletunes wins in its own category on March 7th at the Harborfront in Summerside. Of course, I'll be there. This past year, I got to join forces with IRSA, the Immigrant and Refugee Services Association out of downtown Charlottetown, and they put me in touch with musicians from faraway places who have become islanders by choice. The fellow I was able to interview in June hails from the Dominican Republic, and music wasn't even his highest priority when he came here. He started out in medical school and landed at UPEI for their environmental studies program. But surprise, he has musical DNA, and eventually it asserted itself with the creation and release of his debut single in 2025. He also brings some LGBTQ plus cred to the party. Let's flash back to Getting Excessive with Ivan Yeager. It is the last Friday of the month, and that means it's once again time to team up with IRSA, the Immigrant and Refugees Services Association of PEI, to shine the isletunes spotlight on a musical artist who may not be from the island, but who has made the island their home and made the island better for it. I have a gentleman here who's originally from Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic, and whose career path has taken more than one drastic turn. Yet music has always remained a part of it, and we're going to have ourselves a chat about all of this live from the Charlottetown offices of IRSA and not the isletunes studios, otherwise known as my basement like usual. It is my pleasure to introduce you to Ivan Yeager. Welcome to the show, Ivan, and thanks for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
It's great to have you. Now, you went from one island to the other, starting in the Dominican Republic, actually an island made up of two countries, but it's still an island. And you came to this island of the Prince Edward variety, which has a very different climate from what you're used to. When did you come to PEI, and what was it that brought you here?
Funny that you mentioned, I always introduce myself. I came from one island to a different island.
Right.
But I came to PEI on December 27th, 2018.
Oh.
So literally 3 days before New Year's, and I came with my mom with the purpose of starting my career at UPI. Mm-hmm. And I've stayed ever since. It's been a dream almost, except for the winter, but Well, other than that,
I guess, yeah. Don't have too many winters like that in Santo Domingo.
not even.
What did you think of the island when you first arrived? Was it much of an adjustment? I mean, outside of the weather, outside of what I assume were language differences.
Yes, well, it was. I honestly didn't have any expectations. What I saw from the picture was just summer vibes, and so I was expecting to see, the greenery. So
The image that they push. Yeah.
so I think that took the most attention because I also came with my mom. And then as we walked through the city of Charlottetown, it's not that it didn't meet my expectations. I actually fell in love right away. I said, like, I see myself living here.
That happens
me here.
too, actually.
So it wasn't too, it's not like, yeah, I think what took me out was just a winter shock. And the language obviously came after, but just getting, I guess I found a community quite quickly because of UPI and my studies. So that wasn't too hard. But yeah, and it's been a dream ever since, I would say.
Oh, good. Glad to hear that. So, you started with med school, and you went to bachelor in environmental studies,
I know.
and you went from that to policy coordinator at Pride PEI.
Drastic change.
Drastic changes. Yet you've recently begun pursuing music as well. Had you always been interested in music, or was that something that you only came into recently?
I've always been into music. Music has been my passion. My mom knows. Even when I started going out a little bit more, and I started like, having university and stuff, my mom used to say, "Oh, I miss you singing in the evenings." When it's a thing that everybody knew me by. Since I was a child, I've been very interested in music. Just going on YouTube, trying to sing along to several musicians and the artists that I like. So it's always been my passion, I would say. It's what I describe my calling, if anything, to this world.
Nice.
But it was a drastic change because obviously, music, I mean, back home at least, and I think that happens everywhere, music cannot always, or not everyone has a privilege to call it their first income. And so my mom was very cautious because she also liked music in the beginning of her career. And so because she's a doctor, she's like, no, we have to push the medicine agenda, the scientific agenda, go by the books, do what I did, and you'll be fine.
Have a real career and do the music up the side.
And I'm like, but a real career is music for me. And then
So it was versed.
so I fell for it. Obviously young me. I had no idea what was better for me at the time, or at least, yeah. Then
And your mom being a doctor too.
and my mom being a doctor, and also all my family was like, no, you have to follow what your mom says. So it was quite hard, but since I was a child, I knew music was my thing. I just felt it, and yeah.
And now you're doing something about it.
And now I'm doing something about it, exactly, which is crazy. When I look back, I wouldn't even have thought of myself being in this time and place doing what I do now, but
Well, it's kind of funny how stuff like that happens.
I know.
But at least you are pursuing it now. And PEI does have a growing loud music community. Is that something you're surprised to see happening on the island?
I am surprised, and I feel privileged because I don't feel like I would have developed myself as an artist as much back home. Even though we have a beautiful, amazing, talented scene, I don't think the support is quite the same because it's obviously bigger population as opposed to here, right? I feel like opportunities came to me all at once and in like a vast amount. And for many other artists, I also took examples of, and it was easy to connect with them. It was not like, you have 1 million followers and I'm trying to reach out to see how you got there. It was more like, oh, I'm actually an artist. I've had 10 years here, but I live next to you, for example, or I work next to your office. So it was easy for me to reach out to them and find support like almost right away. As soon as I started to say to my community, hey, I think I'm into music, I want to do something about it. And they were like, oh, you got this, you got that, you got this music PI funding, this other funding, this other.
Go talk to this person.
Go talk to this person. And I was like, wow, I'm actually surprised. So yes, I was very surprised by how vast music scene is here.
Yeah, it's really been diversifying the last several years.
Yes.
It's not just white guys with guitars and music.
Which was awesome. I think when I came here again, I didn't have any expectations, but also in the beginning, I did feel like, oh, maybe there's no place for me. But then I'm like, what am I saying? I mean, all of these other friends are doing their thing and they're getting support. So
And it's a very welcoming music scene that we have.
100%.
I mean, there's not as much of the, like in LA, for example, the
God.
backbiting and the.
But yeah, and I don't. If you talk to me, I don't think when I stop comparing PEI scene because I'm like I can't like PEI's. I don't know. It's just so unique. I find, and if I were to compare, I would rather much stay here. As I begin my career like I'm doing now, than trying to go in a big city where opportunities are scarce.
Yes.
And they judge you by so many other things, even though they don't tell you.
Yep.
And here, as opposed to here, I have felt so welcome. Even if it's not other than funding, it's just opportunity to show myself and showcase my music. I think I've had more than one friend telling me, "Why don't you play here? Hey, listen, you should go to Baba's Lounge." And I'm like, "Oh my god, I don't think I will have the same response if I did it other place."
Yeah, that's certainly true. PEI, it is a very unique music scene. Is there anybody in our music scene that you'd like to work with, whether they specialize in the Latin genre or not?
I know that's interesting. I mean, every artist I find like I would love to experience at least on the back end to know what their creative process is. But if you were to ask me, I mean, I love Noah Malcolm.
Yes.
I love him and I know him and I feel like he's a inspiration in music for. I only got to know him so recent anyway, like a year ago, but that part really inspired me in seeing his work. And then also Diana Delirio, which is my fellow Latina musician. I also love their work and I think those two, but those will like let's say collaboration wise, or at least seeing their processes. There's obviously a ton more that I could mention. Industrial, Ricardo,
I'll be here all day.
and then Lawrence Maxwell as well.
Oh, yes.
Yes, definitely.
Ivan is over here, okay? So hit him up. He wants to work with you guys. I am speaking with Ivan Yeager here on iTunes this week in partnership with the Immigrant and Refugees Services Association of PEI. Let's talk about your music. You released your single Excesivo in February, an electronic Spanish language track. What inspired you to write it? And for those of us who are ignorant in Spanish, mine is la peste at best, and I had to look that up. What did you want to say with the song?
I wrote that song in 2021 and I started it before I went into full force for Logic Pro, which is a software for music production. I started with BandLab, amazing resource for people, is free. I think that was what really is a easy software to manage online. And so I started there, and at the moment, I was feeling so many things with. I was dating someone at the moment, but also feeling other things outside of just that romantic experience. I was just dealing with some family things, and it all felt excessivo in English translates to excessive, and it all at the moment I felt like it was a lot for me. Lots of like both good things and bad things that were just making me feel full in a weird way, and so. One night in 2021, I was just alone in my room, and then I put on some beats in BandLab, and some words started to come out of me. I recorded myself through my phone, and then I started to rhyme and mumble those lyrics, and little by little, every day I went back to it, and that's how it came to fruition. Excessivo.
And you finally released that, which is
And I released that, yes, 3 years later.
Yep, I heard it. It's great. Do you have more music planned in the near future? Maybe given your advocacy for the environment and your representation of the LGBTQ plus community, but you can write some songs on either one of those subjects.
Yes, well, for now, my other song was also written in 2021. I'm planning to release. It's called 12 a.m. It's a sad BOP, like a sad pop song to chill. It's like it has a beat, but it's a sad lyric, just romantic things. I still don't have a set date. I'm working on that, but I'm excited for people to hear it. Definitely.
Great. I'm glad that you didn't just stop with one song.
Oh,
because you could have.
I know.
But that's great.
Yeah,
Like you said, start small.
and it's build up. But I don't know what my whole year will look like, but I'm hoping to just keep on working on new things and try to add some visuals here and there, and then go from there.
Good.
And add more performances as well. But yeah.
That's great. That's
Yeah.
great. Ivan, I'm very glad to have had this chance to talk to you, and I hope to hear more from you in PEI's music scene.
Yes, thank you so much for the invitation. It was a pleasure.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you.
I also want to thank Hai Nguyen, the event coordinator for the Diversity Festival, for making this interview happen. So here's some música caliente to add some Latin spice to iTunes. Ivan, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Yo te puedo mostrar un mundo diferente y lo que diga la gente me parece indiferente. Permíteme enseñarte lo que es el amor. Solo sé paciente con todo mi dolor. He sufrido bastante. Rebasemos la copa. Excesivo nuestro amor. Ya no quiero sufrir solo sin ti aquí. Excesivo es nuestro amor. Excesividad de cariño. Excesividad. Quiero más de ti. Hello. Como me gustan tus besos antes de irme a dormir. Quiero soñar contigo, tenerte cerca, no importa cuándo, dónde. Todo tu tiempo para mí no es suficiente, no es así. Me encanta todo de ti. Rebasemos la copa. Excesivo nuestro amor. Ya no quiero sufrir solo sin ti aquí. Excesivo es nuestro amor. Excesividad de cariño. Excesividad. Quiero más de ti. Yeah, yeah, yo. Yeah, yeah, yo. Yeah, yeah, yo. Yeah, yeah, yo. Quiero más de ti. Yeah, yeah, yo. Yeah, yeah, yo. Yeah, yeah, yo. Quiero más de ti.
Delivering some Spanish language pop prowess from the island home to the Dominican Republic to this here island. That is Ivan Yeager on iTunes with his single Excesivo, which was released in February. Now, if you're booking up west on the 2 and you hang a right on the Rattenbury Road, that's the 254 for those who do numbers, you'll come upon the trailhead for the Devil's Punch Bowl, a 1.5 kilometer hiking path where the difficulty level is listed as moderate. Not Moderate is the gothic folk group that took its name from this trail, and they will lead you into punk and metal before they're done. That's all due to the influence of band founder Chris Gallant, who swung by for a chat in the isletunes studios, otherwise known as my basement, back in February. That timed out great because that was Black History Month, plus you don't see many people of color doing this kind of music. Listen and you'll find out why it was one of the more devilish discussions had on iTunes this year. Now, this island is no stranger to folk music, to be sure, but more of it than not is more your standard folk fare. And while that's awesome, a PEI band does exist that flips that genre on its ass and goes dark. I mean, dark, dark. Are they entertaining? I can legitimately say I've been to one of their shows, and I know that they know how to show audiences a hell of a good time. So here in the isletunes studios, otherwise known as my basement, talk about dark, is Chris Galed of the gothic folk group The Devil's Punch Bowl. Welcome, Chris, to the netherworld of my house anyway.
Thanks for having me, man.
I appreciate it. I'm glad to have you here. So let's start by having you tell us a little bit about yourself. With a name like Galed, you must be from the island, unlike me, a total CFA. When did you realize you had an interest in music, and what led you to its darker undertones?
I'm actually from St. John,
Oh,
Brunswick.
okay.
My mom's from here. So when
Yeah.
my parents got married, I just kept the last name.
Nice.
My grandfather was a musician. My dad and his brothers were also musicians. So I kind of grew up around it, but I was very much like into the skate scene when I was growing up, and then kind of started going to punk and hardcore shows when I was like 8, 9 years old.
Wow, that's low.
Yeah, it was pretty good scene for it over there. So then I just kind of got into learning how to play drums because I heard this kid drumming on the street, and I knocked on his door and asked his mom if I could watch him play drums.
Nice.
So I ended up watching him drum, and then he started taking me to his shows and seeing local shows, and then moved to PEI, and I lived up west, like rural country, and then I couldn't skate that much, so I just taught myself how to play guitar.
Yeah, so I understand that before Devil's Punch Bowl, you jammed in punk and metal bands. Tell us about those and how being in them influenced your musical journey.
I guess like kind of starting out, it was the easiest way to get into music because I wasn't like a technical musician or the best like singer or anything like that. So I just and I was more drawn towards punk and hardcore because my dad was like a metalhead growing up. So I just kind of started with that when I moved to Charlottetown and met a few dudes who played some music at a local show that I was at. And then we kind of just talked more and formed a band from there. That was like 2015, 16. And then from there, kind of just progressed. And I've been playing with those same few dudes in the hardcore bands that I've been in for the last few years. But I took a small hiatus while I was like living in Toronto. I didn't play any music and just learned how to cut hair. Then came back here and started singing for Baited when they were at the beginning of their career. I started Devil's Punch Bowl, I think, just before them. And then I started singing for Baited, and I was singing for a band called Kintsugi before that. Or no, I was drumming for Kintsugi, and then singing for weird little, proggy metal bands here and there. But yeah, it ultimately just ended up me singing for Baited after I started the Devil's Punch Bowl, and then getting more of that folk side from the hardcore music.
Right. So you started the Devil's Punch Bowl, and who was in the band besides yourself? And how did y'all end up getting together in the formation that you have?
There's kind of been like a long running little members who have been in and out, but the 3 core members, I guess, are like me and Beatty and Chris Coupland, who Beatty plays the harp and Chris Coupland plays stand-up bass. And then we had a few members, like our buddy Jake plays guitar for us, but he lives in Halifax. So it's mainly just the 3 of us kind of doing what we can around and writing and stuff. Well, we kind of keep Jake up to speed, and if he can tour with us and play the shows with us, and that's great. But BD, I had met years ago, just I think at a hardcore show. So I have a hardcore show at Bubba's. And then she started playing the harp, has been playing the harp, I guess. And we were just jamming together like indie songs, acoustic and harp stuff. And then she was working at Nimrod's with CC. And he's been playing piano and bass in bands like Love Junkies and Feelings and all that. Like he's been around the block for a while. So it was just like a perfect fit, but that was like a month into the band. So he's pretty much been in the band since the beginning.
So I'm curious, always curious where people get names for their bands or their pseudonyms. So where did you guys get your name?
There's a trail in summer, or up by summer, so I called the Devil's Punch Bowl. Someone that I know one day was like, "Oh, the Devil's Punch Bowl would be a good band name," and I was like, "Yeah, it would be." And this was long before I even started the band. And then when I started it, I was like, "Oh, it's kind of suiting for the style of music."
As I mentioned before, the music you guys make has been described as gothic folk. Would you say that's accurate? And how did you arrive at the sound? And did your experience in metal and punk influence the direction?
I heard a dude named Amigo the Devil, and he was kind of like the eye-opening sound of being like, damn, like that dark folk music is really sweet. And discovered so much more artists from it. But I always knew about like the folk punk genre, like Days and Days and all those dudes who were doing like that classic like upbeat punk chords with no like distortion and straight, and that kind of shifted me towards like the gothic side of the dark folk. I'd say it's pretty accurate. We're all from different backgrounds, so like BD's from like the Celtic, trad music scene, and CC's into like the instrumental jazz stuff, and it all just kind of adds elements of it. And then we're planning on putting out 2 more singles in the next 2 months. Our sound changes for like every song. So,
But that's cool.
yeah, so I got like I have a problem with keep writing. So we have like 8 songs that were pretty much set in stone, and then I like made another one like last night. We're trying to do 2 EPs, so one with all originals and one with like covers and like homages to traditional folk music, because I feel like a lot of people wouldn't assume that. Like, I love traditional folk music, like Ola Belle Reed, and like I listen to a lot of Sham Shackleton and Clifton Hicks, like old traditional Appalachian banjo music and stuff. So we're gonna do some of that and other fun covers and stuff.
Now, shifting gears a little bit, another thing that's not exactly typical on the island and in music in general is having a person of color being the front man for a gothic folk band or a gothic group in general, not to mention punk or metal. And while I might view that as groundbreaking, do you see it that way at all? Or was it just a natural fit for you that it never crossed your mind that it might do that?
I guess sometimes, because like growing up in St. John, I wasn't exposed to much like other like color kids or hanging out with other folks like that. And like my dad, who is like part black, he grew up in the hardcore scene, and he was one of the only ones, right? So when I moved here, and like I didn't think it was anything strange, because I was like, I just gotta play the music I want. So, yeah, I'm not trying to like make other people see things a certain way or make them accept anything that, I'm just who I am.
Exactly, you're just speaking through the music.
Yeah, and I haven't really like encountered much like frontmen who are of color. A couple in Halifax maybe, but yeah, for the most part, man, I'm the only fish in the sea.
If I might ask, what has your experience been being a person of color in the island music scene and on the island itself? Like, do you find PEI to be relatively inclusive? And if you feel it isn't as much as it could be, what do you think we could be doing here to make it better?
Yeah, I do. I feel like it's fine. I've never like caught any slack. I honestly feel like the music scene is kind of like divided here, in a sense of like a lot of the color musicians like have their scene, and it seems like, the hardcore scene has its place, the indie scene has its place, and they never really intertwine or mesh.
Right.
So that's kind of like brutal to see, because it can make like some color musicians who want to branch out, play at other people's shows, scared to ask or whatever, because they don't want to mix genres, or they're scared their crowd won't accept them, or, their crowd won't accept us. But it's pretty inclusive, man. Like, PEI is a good spot for that in every way.
Now back to the music. You had mentioned the tour that you guys were doing. That. Where are you going? Besides, is it just going to be Halifax? Is it in support of the album? And will there ultimately be PEI stops involved with that tour?
We're going on tour with Dago Abortions and Dirt Nap, both from BC, in April, and that's cross Canada. Oh, wow. We're starting in Victoria and making our way all the way back. So May 23rd, we play PEI.
Now, while I usually do the DJing around here, because that's what I do, I'm going to turn that duty over to you for this part of the show. What from the repertoire of Devil's Punch Bowl would you like Islanders to hear? And then, if you would, talk to us about the song you're picking and what went into it. What should I play?
I guess All Souls Blues. It's a real different sound compared to like the first album and then this, because like the recording quality is kind of like different, though there's a lot more sound difference. And also, I quit playing guitar in like April and started playing banjo only. So it's the only song that we have out that has banjo and guitar.
So we're going to do that. We're going to play All Souls Blues. It is so thirst quenching taking a drink from the Devil's Punch Bowl. Chris, I want to thank you for coming over here and for talking about all this. And I'm looking forward to hearing more from you guys in the not terribly distant future. Yeah, all the singles coming out and EPs and albums, and y'all got it going on.
Yeah, it should be fun. We're pretty excited. Like, just writing songs about random things and life events. Like, All Souls Blues is just all about life that we've been through like 4 years ago.
Oh, no.
All Souls Lane, like while we were living there.
Okay, now we're going to get gothic with our folk here with the Devil's Punch Bowl and All Souls Blues here on iletunes.
Hey, this is Chris from the Devil's Punch Bowl, and you're listening to isletunes.
Wake up and I'm hungover, and I peel myself off the floor, and I head out onto work in my dirty old clothes. Oh, you can say I'm just a fool. I've got the all souls blues. Still high from last night. Oh, you know that I never sleep right, because me and all my friends were sleeping on the couch. Oh, you say we're all just tools. I've got the all souls blues. Oh, sing me them blues, baby.
The room reeks of stale cigarettes, and I'm tied down to a twin-sized bed, just staring up at the ceiling, where my dead name's been graffiti. Think I've reached an all-new low. That's just how all souls go.
Oh Lord, I'm feeling down. Yeah, my mama, oh, she wouldn't be proud of the boy that I became, but I can change my ways. Oh, I haven't got a clue. I've got the all souls blues. Oh Lord, I'm tripping, yeah, this LSD is kicking in, the skin starts expanding. This is no way to live, but it's alright because it's my life. We will never win, but always lose. I've got the all souls blues.
The Devil's Punch Bowl on isletunes with their 2024 single All Souls Blues. This was actually followed later that year with a full, not connected album called Locals Only. And this past October, they released their latest track, and stay with me for this title, Left My Heart in San Francisco but Lost My Shoes in Tokyo. You know, you could have thrown some air tags in those kicks and you wouldn't have had that problem. As for me, all this bluesiness inspired me to write lyrics to a song I'd had in my head for a long time. But since I'm basically keeping it clean for this retrospective, I can't exactly tell you what the subject matter is. But if you think of other things that go blue after a long time, you'll know what I'm talking about. You'll also know pop if I mention that. It's such a well-known genre that at this point, it generated a diametrically opposed style. Yeah, you may have guessed, it's called anti-pop. It takes the sounds we know and dirties them up, for want of a better word. And as we got into March of this year, I had a chat with Colast, a purveyor of anti-pop who adds his own alternative edge to the proceedings, along with some raw emotion that really grabs you. Not a lot about this dude online, which is why I'm still tickled to be the one to bring you info on him. Let's kick it with Colast once again on this isletunes retrospective.
Pop music is a phenom all unto itself, starting with big band in the 1940s and rock and roll in the 50s and 60s, and then splitting off from rock in the 70s and embracing the synth sounds of the 80s, and all of that led to the electronic bonanza we've pretty much had ever since. Pop has become so mainstream that now there's a movement called anti-pop, and don't think the genre hasn't landed here on the shores of PEI, because it has. We have our own architects of anti-pop on the island, and I've got one of them right here in the iTunes studios, also known as my basement. We're going to show you how to last with Colast. Did I say that right?
You did.
Okay. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's great to have you here. Just to leave heads unscratched, why don't we start by having you tell us about anti-pop and what it means to you? I understand that there are other genres mixed into that kind of music as well.
Yeah, like I get asked like what anti-pop is a lot. I don't think there's any like one definition for it. I think it's just like it's a culmination of different genres. Like I find like pop punk, like emo alternative, a lot of like sound here like back in like the early 2000s, just kind of like modernized. more poppy, I guess. But I guess that's how I would describe indie pop. At least that's how like my sound is.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I understand it too. I mean, aside from kind of taking the structure of pop music and
Yeah,
messing with it
yeah,
to make it and not as mainstream.
yeah. Like adding like interesting sounding like synths or basses that are like really distorted and things like that.
Yeah.
Like a little less clean than pop.
I'm glad that we cleared that up for anyone who might have found that style of mystery. Now, while we're on mysteries, the average Google search turned up not a whole lot about you. So here's your chance to introduce Colas to the world, or at least the province. Are you from here originally, or did you make this your home later?
So I was actually born in Ontario.
Okay.
My mother's from here, so that's why we moved here. Came here when I was 3, but I grew up here and went to school here.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, who is Colas? Share some stuff about yourself and don't leave out how you got into music.
Okay. I was put in guitar lessons in grade 3, so I guess that's kind of when it started. My grandma was a pianist. She always tried to like teach me and my sister piano growing up. I guess I've like always kind of been musical. I always like singing, and I used to post like covers on YouTube back in the day and stuff like that. I didn't really start taking music like totally seriously until like I did this Colas stuff, but it's starting to go pretty well, I think.
Good. And when did Colas start?
Yeah, so 2022 I started recording stuff as Colas, and then in 2023 I started releasing it.
All right. So that's already almost 2 years already.
Yeah.
Not bad. We were talking before, you had said something about COVID being a catalyst for all this. And that's so true for so many people.
Yeah, so I was actually living in Toronto during COVID.
Ooh.
Yeah. And I was actually working remote, so I was just kind of stuck in the condo all day. And as I was working, I was just listening to like YouTube videos and stuff and like music playlists. And this one guy came on called Break-ins. And I was like, oh, that's like a sound I've never heard before. I was like, this is like so different and so like raw. I guess like the lyrics were like emotional, but like the production was very like energetic and like in your face. And like, I was like, oh man, like, this is kind of the sound that like kind of woke you out. I've been waiting for. Yeah. And I was like, this is like what I want to try to kind of have my sound be like. Cause I struggled for forever, like trying to get my own like sound.
Yeah.
Or like where you're not like emulating other artists. I just do like the anti-pop stuff is kind of like very, very true to like what I want to be as a musician and like how I kind of feel about music and stuff.
Well, I am speaking here with anti-pop prince Colas here in the iTunes studio. Now, what is it you want to get across with your recordings and your lyrics?
Like for me, it's really nice when like people like message me being like, oh, like this song, like I get it, or like, yeah, like I've like kind of gone through the same thing, and like those kind of moments are kind of like, it makes it all kind of like worth it, I guess, to me. Cause like initially I kind of write these things for myself, and it's cool when like other people can, I guess, relate to it.
You have to be true to yourself first, before anybody else can connect to what you're doing.
Yeah. Like, so like all my songs are just about like stuff I've like gone through. It's me. It's kind of like got off my chest, and it just makes me feel better, like listening to them. And then like, I guess when people hear it too, and they're like, oh, like that makes me feel good as well. Yeah. It's really cool.
Absolutely. It's therapeutic to express yourself lyrically about stuff, that otherwise you might not have an outlet for.
Yeah. Exactly.
And then to find that validation in that other people can understand and relate to what you're expressing.
Yeah.
And that's a whole nother thing unto itself.
Yeah. And then it's also cool to like, oh, well, it also sounds good. So.
Yeah. You've had your share of singles out so far. At least 4. Is it more than that?
I think there's 7.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, I'm glad to be wrong on that one. It just shows that I haven't done all my homework yet. Where can people listen to them, or better yet, where can they buy them? And do you have new songs in the work that we can look forward to hearing?
So I'm on all streaming platforms. In terms of buying it, I guess iTunes. I don't know. And yeah, like there's I've had like a little acoustic EP thing in the works. So.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
that's different.
Yeah, organic. Yeah, a little different sound than the norm, but just kind of still true to the
Colas style.
Yes, just a little more stripped down.
Yeah, but that's cool. Yes, this, you're getting to explore now. Now that you establish yourself a bit, you're getting to explore different musical personality, which is very important.
I definitely like to start doing some shows for sure.
I was going to ask about that.
Yeah, so Jorby, another island artist.
Yes, we love Jorby.
Yeah.
The island's purple one. Ask him if you don't know.
He's very purple.
Very.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, so him and I, because we're pretty similar like in genre.
That's true.
There's not many that was here, like making like anti-pop or hyper pop.
That's true.
So we've been trying to figure out a place to kind of do our first little show and see if there's interest for it.
Shifting gears for a second, you had shared with me that you're half Filipino.
Yep.
Right? And you may or may not, well, I guess you do know because you've been here since you were a child that, 15 years ago, PEI was still pretty white.
Oh, yeah.
And we're finally catching up with the rest of Canada in terms of diversity, which I think is an awesome thing. And it's about damn time. But what has your experience been here as a person of color? Are you getting treated right, or do we have a ways to go around here?
Growing up, like I was definitely one of the very few brown kids in school. Like there's probably like 5 or 6 of us. There's always these stupid people. Like,
Yeah.
I've definitely had like my run-ins with like racist comments and whatnot, but
Damn.
it is what it is. You kind of learn to, that's the landscape, I guess. Like, is there,
It shouldn't be.
but yeah.
Right. And it's more so now than it was 15 years ago. God knows. What about within the music community itself? I find the music community here to be pretty open and accepting and everything. But has that been your experience, or like?
I think so. Like, I don't think I was ever made any like comments about like my ethnicity. Maybe they're like, oh, this sucks, but like, it's never like, oh, it sucks because you're brown.
Oh, good. Now let's go back to music here. Typically, I do the DJing around here because that's a big part of the reason that I do the show. I actually was a DJ for a while before you were born, but we're not going to talk about that. I'm going to turn the digital turntable over to you. Which song of yours should I play for listeners, and what can you tell us about it?
I think she play Love is Overrated. Probably the first song I wrote as Colas was out, but this is the sound and direction that I kind of want to go with for my music.
I sense disappointment, the of in the title alone.
Yeah, I guess it's just like feeling like underappreciated, like in a relationship. Feel like this can't be what love kind of feels like and should be more. But also kind of realizing like your own faults as well in a relationship, and there's a bunch of different topics in there. But
Nice.
yeah, it's about relationship troubles.
Which absolutely nobody can relate to.
Yeah,
No, I mean, I've heard the song and I really like it. I almost forgot to ask you, because I am always interested in where names come from. Coast, how did that happen?
so yeah, it took me forever to find a name to kind of use as my alias, because like I wanted to make sure that like when you see it or like you hear like the name Colas, like it's associated with me, not like something else. All right. It took me a long time to find that, and what I ended up doing was like just like a random name generator on Google, and I got a list of like 100 names, and then I broke it down to like a list of like 20.
Well, that's an identity crisis.
Yeah. So what I like the most, I just kind of tweaked that one, and then I made sure like no one else had it on Spotify or Apple Music.
Yeah, there are any copycat Colas out there.
Yeah,
Because there's only one, and he's right here.
that's me.
It is. And it has been awesome having him here. Colas and the anti-pop awesomeness of In Love is Overrated.
Hey, I'm Colas, and this is isletunes.
isletunes F-bomb alert!
Who am I to judge when I'm so fucked up? But I can't give you up, I can't get enough. Everything I touch just goes away. I just wish somebody would stay. Everything I touch just goes away. And I just wish somebody would stay. So save me, promise that you won't erase me. I've been taking my okay, it's okay. I couldn't take it, you've been entertaining. All these words I've wasted. Face down and love is overrated. Did I give you enough? When did our ties become untied? I can't give you up, I can't get enough. I sometimes figure out feel better when you're around. Everything touch just goes away, and I just wish somebody would stay. Save me, promise that you won't erase me. I've been taking my okay, it's okay. I couldn't take it. You've been entertaining all these words I've wasted. Did you when I hate? Face down in the face. I couldn't take it. You've been entertaining all these words I've wasted. Did you when I hate? Face down in the face, overrated.
Colast on isletunes with his 2023 track In Love is Overrated, all one word and all lowercase. Thank you very much. His latest work is I Give Up, separate words but also all lowercase, and that came out in mid-August. Once again, through my partnership with Ursa, May saw me chatting with a native of Colombia who came to PEI to study in the Holland College School of Performing Arts program. She's been shining a light on the growing Latin community here ever since, adding modernity to its classic cultural sounds. On top of all that, she is also now one of the artists and repertoire reps at Sopasonic Records, our own budding label here. She performs everywhere, and if you don't know the name by now, you should. Diana Delirio. Time to once again get delirious with Diana, isletunes style.
It's the last Friday of the month, and that means it's once again time to team up with Ursa, the Immigrant and Refugee Services Association of PEI, to shine the isletunes spotlight on a musical artist who may not be from the island, but who has made the island their home and made the island better for it. For May, well, the US has Madonna. Australia has Kylie, but PEI has its own one-named wonder, in this case, Diana Delirio, who takes the sounds of Latin music and combines it with electronica and art pop to create her own style. She's in the forefront of Spanish language music made on the island, and she's here to talk about her journey live at the Charlottetown offices of Ursa, rather than the isletunes studios, otherwise known as my basement, like usual. Everyone, please give a warm PEI welcome to Diana Delirio. All one word, thank you very much. Diana, I'm so glad that you could come and have a chat with me.
Oh, nice to meet you. It's such a pleasure to be here.
Estoy muy agradecido.
Oh my goodness. Gracias a ti.
I actually understood that.
Oh my.
Now, I've looked it up, and your hometown of Boyaca in Colombia is about 2,900 kilometers from Charlottetown, and in a different hemisphere at that. So when did you come to Prince Edward Island, and what made you decide to move here?
Okay, so I came here almost 2 years ago, and I came here because of the music performance program in Holland College.
SOPA.
For SOPA, I came here because of that, and it is because SOPA program has like a pathway with Berkeley, which is a very prestigious university, like known worldwide and everything. I also don't want to live in the US, like for now. Yeah. So Canada was very interesting to me since I have memory, so that's why I decided. Yeah.
Nice. What did you think of the island when you first arrived? Was it much of an adjustment for you outside of the language?
Oh, for sure. It's like a totally different world in terms of like the architecture is different. The weather is different. For sure.
The weather, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. The way the culture is different too. And it is good to see that there are good people in everywhere, you know?
Yeah.
The feeling of trying to explain yourself in a different language, it was different, but for sure it is a beautiful place. So it was like, oh my god, it's so nice in here. I wish they could understand how happy I am to be here. So yeah,
it shows.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it shows. The PEI does have a growing Latin music community. Is that something you're surprised to see happening on the island?
Well, honestly, when I came here, I was very happy to learn about the styles outside my culture. In the SOPA program, they have like a very broad approximation to different styles of music. So I was very happy to learn as an outsider of, for example, I don't know, Celtic music or outside of country, outside of a lot of musical traditions that I don't know, but that I do see value in. So when I arrived here, I wasn't expecting like listen Latin music all the time, you know. But when I came here and I started looking my peers, I saw a very good welcoming not only for Latin culture but for all the cultures. And I think that's very valuable because that helped me to not only see my culture from a respectful point of view, like representative in my songs and the way I sing, the way I speak, the way I am, but also as a point of comparison from other cultures in the world, you know?
Absolutely. And I think as somebody from North America who lives here, I think it's good for us to see other cultures and how they express themselves. Yeah, no, and not just be stuck in our way of thinking. Let's talk about your music. You've released several singles, and of course your Quema la Casa EP. What inspired you to take the Latin sound that you grew up with and fuse it with something more experimental?
The first reason was because there's like a lot of respect from Latin music as something that it needs to be preserved. Like back in home, I had the privilege to work with bands or projects that their final goal was to preserve the Latin music as itself, you know? And I really appreciate that. But when it comes to my creativity, I can't deny that I am kind of globalized person. You know, I also have another reference that I am curious about. I want to experiment with that. I'm going to make some fusion. And for sure, the Latin roots are going to be there because it's the music that I grew up with, it's the music that I play with, it's the music that I feel most comfortable with. But I'm going to try to approach to other styles and see how it goes.
I love the taking a tradition and then kind of giving it a different slant.
Yeah, 100%.
Putting your own stamp on it.
Oh, thank you. Well, having like own stamp, you as a person are the conclusion of a lot of things that is happening on your life. So when you say that I have my stamp, I really appreciate that because it means that I took all the reference that I got and I speak from my point of view.
Exactly. That's exactly what you've done. I am speaking with Diana Delirio here on iTunes this week in partnership with the Immigrant and Refugee Services Association of PEI. Now, I understand that you're not only a solo artist, but you have a band, right? Who's in it, and have you recorded with them, or do they just play with you on stage?
Okay. So in this moment, me as Diana Delirio is my singer-songwriter project. I also am a musician, a session musician, and I have the privilege to work with different groups in the island. Having said that, I also have the privilege to play with a beautiful band that is we call ourselves the Tropicale. This band is made by Maya Marquez on the bass, Nicolas Romero on the guitars, Mark Harwold on the percussion, and Matt Bridges on the drums. All of them are like really talented musicians that are also curious about making their own music and also to participate in other groups. Yeah, but right now we're gonna show our performance in the diversity fair. Are gonna be like the full band.
Oh yeah, then that kind of leads to my next question. You were performing at Diversity.
Yes.
Are you doing the Charlottetown show, or?
I'm doing the Charlottetown show.
Nice. That's June 22nd. Are you doing any of the other shows, or just that one?
I don't know the exact number, but I'm doing more than one show.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice. And for those who don't know, the Diversity Festival used to kind of just be in one place, but now they're kind of going on tour with 7 different shows, starting in Charlottetown, and then over different Sundays throughout the summer. They'll be going around the island, like they're going to O'Leary and Surrey and Kensington, and so it's sort of like Taylor Swift, only on PEI, right? They're PEI eras. You've worked with Maya Marquez, as you said,
Yes.
and you featured on one of Sam O's songs. Like I saw. Who would you like to work with that you haven't yet?
Oh my God, just Riom. They are amazing.
Yes, they are.
That will be crazy. I also work with Sidu, the Umbrella Collective.
Yes.
But I would like to work with the Umbrella Collective as a collective.
Oh, that would be cool. Tamara,
she wants to work with you, okay?
Yeah, but you know what? I also know Tom Gammons from Ineco.
Yes.
Okay, so Celtic music and Latin music are like totally different words.
Just a little bit.
I don't know if we can work like something with the styles, but just I like to hear Tom play. That's all.
I bet there's a way to fuse Celtic and Latin together. In March, you released your song Junto a mí, and I understand now that that's going to be the title track of your second EP. Now, when is that coming out? And can you tell us more about what I heard about how the EP is meant to explore the challenges of living between two cultures?
Oh, yes. Junto a mí, the EP, is going to be released in August. This whole topic about being like living between two countries reflects on the music. So we have 2 tracks that are made for the real ones, for the originals, for my chosen family and my blood family, the ones that really helped me to be the person who I am. That's Junto a mí and Felina, which is for my grandmother. Next, we're gonna move to another stage of living in two cultures. That is the exposition to other music. So I'm gonna release a tune called Azul with Sam O. And then I'm gonna move to more ambient and experimental music. And those tracks reflects the way I'm integrating new elements. And then we're gonna move to the happiness of being here. So they're more like celebratory music that says life can be challenging, but it's nice to be here. And yeah.
That sounds fun. It just that it has the one unifying message, but in all these different kind of styles.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun.
I didn't plan this. I just start creating and say, okay, let's see what happens. And when I see my creations, I was surprised because I saw the line that connects all the dots. So I say, okay, we have an EP.
Yeah.
And that's why I decided to release.
That we ended up talking now is quite fateful because you do have a new song out Friday, as you mentioned, Felina.
Yes.
You said that was about your grandmother. What else would you like people to know about it? And what was your process in writing it?
I see the experience of my grandmother as the kind of something that other people can be related to, because I speak about how she take the life and work with what she had around, she didn't have the perfect life, but for sure she knew how to navigate that experience, and that's the thing that I admire a lot of her. Second is that Felina, it's a fun name because it's the name of a chapter in Breaking Bad. Yes. Really? Yes, it is. And when I say Felina, a lot of people in the island tell me, oh my God, like Breaking Bad. Or like
Breaking Bad with Abuela.
Yeah, it would be interesting.
She'd be fun to party with. Dan, I am very much enjoyed talking to you, and here's to nothing but the best as you venture forward with the music career here and beyond. Que te vaya bien.
Muchas gracias. Thank you so much to Island Tunes for all the people who are listening, and thank you for all the work you do for uplift the music community here in PEI.
Thank you. I certainly do try to do that. I also want to thank Hai Nguyen, the event coordinator for the Diversity Festival, for making this interview happen. Now, let's bring you Diana Delirio's brand new song, Felina, out today in Estreno Mundial de isletunes.
Oh my God, we're gonna release the song in isletunes!
Tweet, baby!
Yeah! Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Antes de nacer, fiera desde que nació, y la llamaron felina, 8 rayas en la espalda. Con el tiempo entendió que por solo ser felina, mucho peso cargaría, mucho peso en la espalda, todo el peso de él. Cuidado a su gente salirse del pueblo, un borracho diciendo te amo. Hacer sostener la vida. ¿Cómo así que una felina pagando por tener garras, pagando por tener garras, pagando por tener garras, pagando por tener garras? Haciendo de oasis por ella y los suyos borrachos diciendo te amo. El poder sagrado de amar con las tripas y hacer maravillas contando centavos al alzar la frente. Sacar las garras, cocinar. Pasar por todo eso, aunque así pasó. Y me abrazaste, me abrazaste, me abrazaste, me abrazaste, me abrazaste.
Diana Delirio with one of her 2 single releases for 2025. That was Felina on isletunes. Her next track was Azul, which came out in July, but she's not going to be blue. See what I did there? It's these releases that earned her not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 Music PEI Award nominations for 2026. And those categories are Songwriter of the Year, Achievement in Global Music, New Artist of the Year, and Pop/Dance Recording of the Year. Sheer odds say she's going to go home with at least one of these. Going back to Felina, that name makes me think of that Marty Robbins song El Paso, but that's before a lot of y'all's time. Which is kind of a cool, unplanned segue, and I love when that happens. You know how they say it's never too late? Well, it's one thing to say it, but here's a lady that damn well is living it. Karen Pyra had always wanted to make music, and she didn't let the calendar tell her she couldn't. She started recording at the tender age of 55, and not only did she hit with her own solo album in 2023, she's since teamed up with Nova Scotia nonconformist Mike Elliott to form Aging Disgracefully, where the duo makes a big point of reminding everyone that pastures are for horses, not for people to be put out on. Hot off the heels of the title track of their then upcoming album Shatter the Mirror, which had come out the week before, here's a chat with these disgraceful agers dating back to last April.
Okay, check it. It is not uncommon in the music business or in the world in general, really, to put people out to the proverbial pasture once they reach a certain age. Example, radio stopped playing Madonna after the music that she put out after she was 50. That's one example. Think about that. Now, the duo that I've got here for you has given plenty of thought to the subject of ageism, and rising up against it isn't just a part of their repertoire, it's part of their name. She's a vocal dynamo who only just released her first album in 2023 and landed herself on the Canadian Indie Country Countdown chart and the East Coast Top 30 Countdown chart. He's a singer, songwriter, guitarist, and mandolin player out of Nova Scotia who's been jamming since the 80s. And he's played for the likes of Demi Moore and Gary Oldman. Together they are Karen Pyra and Mike Elliott, respectively. And as I said, their band name is also their mission statement, Aging Disgracefully. And they released their first album on March 28th. Hello, disgraceful ones.
Hello.
Welcome to the isletunes studios, otherwise known as my basement, which you are seeing through the magic of Zoom. So thanks for zooming by for a chat.
Good to be here. Yeah, great to be here.
To have you guys here. Now, Karen, first, let's talk about your debut album, Scrapbook. and the fact that you made that debut in your 50s. What led to putting out your first record at this stage in your life and made you want to address ageism in your music as a whole?
So I have always written songs, but they kind of just got put to the back burner until I had an event in my life that was a significant loss. And I wrote a song, and my sister said, "You need to get that arranged." And so I happened to live in the same community as Tara Spencer, who's a fabulous musician. And I reached out to Tara and said, "Could you help me arrange it?" And she said, "Oh, yes, and you need to record it." So off we went. And I was terrified, and we recorded it. And then she said, "When's the next one?" And suddenly there was an album. And it's, the whole age thing, people would say, "You're 57 and you're starting an album. What are you doing?" It's like, "I'm having fun." And so the songs on that album are really snippets of my life. There's some very strong statements on there about what it's like to be a postmenopausal woman in this society. And that's the song that connected Mike and I, of all things.
And Mike, how about you? Tell us a little bit more about yourself and your own catalog. Had you tackled ageism in your own work as well, or is that something that just came up when you started working with Karen?
No, I guess more or less it just came up when I started working with Karen. I haven't really had a problem with it yet. I started playing when I was 11 years old. My sister Linda played a bit, and she kind of got me into it. And I played with a few bands over the years here in the South Shore of Nova Scotia. I have an album out with a band called the Poor Boys, and another album with a band called Heavy Water. One's a rock and roll band, the other one's kind of more folky. When Karen and I got together and I heard her sing her post-menopausal song, I was like, okay, this girl's got something. I gotta get to know her better.
So there was a songwriters workshop in Shelburne run by Dave Gunning.
Which is where I live.
Yeah, he lives in Shelburne. And Mike and I were both there. And we kind of got to know one another. And then when I sang that song at the showcase, the first person I found when I came on stage was Mike. He said, "Oh my God, I love that song." I got to hear Mike play. I was like, "Oh my God, I love your guitar playing. We got to do something together." So that's how it started.
Nice. Nice. I'm glad to hear that. You guys describe yourselves as blues inspired, and I would say that's accurate. How did you guys end up leaning in that direction, and what is your songwriting process?
That's Karen.
I love the blues, but I'm not a trained blues singer in any way. I don't have any experience singing it. My other work is more country folk, but I always wanted to try. So I said to Mike, "I have this idea. I want to try and write this blues song, but you need to tell me if it's terrible." So I wrote it. I write melody and lyric, and they come at the same time for me. I don't write all the lyrics and then put the melody or vice versa. I'm all about melody and lyric. And then I shipped it off to Mike and said, "What do you think?" And he said, "Yeah, that's a blues song. We're good." And then Mike takes it from there. You talk about what happens when I send it to you.
Yeah, when Karen first came out with this, I've always loved the blues. I played, on and off blues for all my life, basically. So I've always been into it, and as soon as she said she wanted to do a blues album, I was in right away. But yeah, the first song she sent me was on some sort of rudimentary. I don't know if it was one of those walk on the floor keyboards, or I'm not sure what she was using for the music part of it. But anyhow, I was like, "Oh, okay." So I worked on it a bit. I've got an old looper pedal here, and I kind of threw a drum beat and a few things into it and sent it back to her, and she liked it. So there it began.
It's been an easy songwriting process for us. That's
It is.
kind of how it goes. In fact, there was one night I went to Shelburne because we were working on recording a piece, and we like worked on 5 songs in one night. Yeah.
We just got a natural flow together. It's crazy not to take advantage of that. If you work so well with somebody, we had no choice. We were in it for the ride after that.
I'm speaking with Karen Pyra and Mike Elliott of Aging Disgracefully here on isletunes. Now, your band website describes Aging Gracefully as not just a name, but a movement. Now, maybe I'm biased because I'm 55, but I love what you guys are doing. Using the microphone as a middle finger to make the statement that old is just a state of mind. I never use the word old to describe myself. I seriously, I think the inner affects the outer. And once you start saying, "I'm old," your body's going to follow suit. So I ain't about that. But your work says that the wisdom of being older, there's a difference there. It can inform your creativity, and that ageism is one societal expectation that needs to be bucked. So what do you hope your music and manifesto will accomplish through your examples?
I hope it inspires people in our age group to follow their dreams. Like, just because you turn 57 doesn't mean you can't start an album, you know? I think it also it gives voice to people in our generation. Think about the music that's out there today. Nobody's talking about the issues of postmenopausal women. Nobody's talking about, one of our songs is cheating, and it's not meant to be about people in their 20s. It's people who've been together for a long time and suddenly realize, holy crap, this isn't working. Like, there's nobody's writing about that. So, at least for me, I want it to encourage people, but I also want people to find a voice in what we're playing, because what we're playing isn't for younger generations; it's for our generation.
Again, I love that you guys are speaking out towards our generation and letting people know that we're still vital. And I think it's important, especially for women, because as men, we don't face exactly the same kinds of stereotypes and pressures that women do. I mean, of course, gay men do as well, but not to the level that women do. And so I think it's important, that you guys are kind of putting both of those perspectives out there.
Exactly.
One of our songs, Black Stockings, which if you've got to listen to it, it's crazy. But how often do we hear people say when they see an older couple, oh, aren't they sweet? It's like, I don't look at my husband of 37 years and say, oh, aren't you sweet? I might look at him across the table and say, I wonder if we'll both stay awake late enough. Yeah. So, Black Stockings isn't about a 20-year-old in black stockings. It's about the people who've been, together with people for long periods of time, who are still putting on the black stockings, who are still proud to put them on, who, strut to show their assets, as the line says, and who are, still living life large. And that's what we're all about.
So is there any chance of getting you over here to PEI, Mike, for some shows? What's
God,
the
yeah.
Aging Disgracefully calendar looking like right about now?
Once I'm healed up from my shoulder surgery, Karen and I definitely want to hit the road and push the album. And PEI is definitely on our radar. I got some musical friends over there down in the Gross Marsh, Cardigan area. So they were in a band called the Rubber Boot Band, the infamous Rubber Boot Band from PEI. So we'll gather up some musicians somewhere, and we definitely will put a show on in PEI. We plan on doing PEI, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, maybe Cape Breton too. So
until you have the opportunity to see these two age disgracefully right in front of you on stage, you'll just have to settle for their music. Gosh darn it. So what you're about to hear isn't their first. That was the Christmas ditty Holiday Tangle, which hopefully you caught on the isletunes Christmas episode back in December. This single is Shatter the Mirror, which follows their previous release, Foggy Highway. And while the pro-age equality or pro-agelessism, if that's a way to describe it, is certainly there in full force, the song is almost more of a self-empowerment message for any age, really. Tell us what went into the writing of that and anything else that you want people to know about it.
So that is the first song that we wrote together. That's a blues song. That was the Grand Experiment. That song is about, and it's probably more of a women's song than a men's song, but maybe I'm wrong. Society telling us, what we should wear and how fat we're allowed to be and how skinny we're allowed to be, and don't be too sexy, but don't be frumpy, and don't color your hair, and why aren't you coloring your hair?
And how many wrinkles are you supposed to have? And
Exactly. So Shatter the Mirror is about just break free of those expectations and be who you are authentically meant to be and embrace that. That's what Shatter the Mirror is about.
the song itself is just a rocking straight ahead 12 bars blues, and it gets you up and moving, which us old folks got to do, right?
What did I tell you about not using that word?
Seasoned. We're seasoned.
Yes. This is one case where mirror shattering is not going to bring you 7 years of bad luck.
No.
Bad luck comes in not buying their album.
That's right.
Right. You don't dare get it.
Just kidding, sort of. Karen, Mike, thank you both so much for allowing me to age disgracefully along with you. Maybe when I finally do my own ageism protest song, which I've been planning for ages, pun intended, I can open up for y'all or something.
That'll be awesome. Hi, this is Karen Pyra.
This is Mike Elliott from
Aging Disgracefully.
11 isletunes. Tune in.
Every week.
what I should see in the mirror. I gotta change what I believe about me. Shatter the mirror. Shatter the mirror. Oh yeah, shatter the mirror. Oh yeah, shatter the mirror. Shatter the mirror. Yeah, I gotta change the way I see myself. Shatter the mirror. That mirror shows a body that just ain't young or thin. I don't meet the standards of the world I'm living in. I need to learn to love living in my own skin. Shatter the mirror. Oh yeah, shatter the mirror. Oh yeah, shatter the mirror. Shatter the mirror. Yeah, I gotta change the way I see myself. Shatter the mirror. I'm telling myself stories about what I am. I'm telling myself I can't instead of yes I can. I really need to become my biggest friend. Shatter the mirror. Oh yeah, shatter the mirror. Oh yeah, shatter the mirror. Shatter the mirror. Yeah, I gotta change the way I see myself. Shatter the mirror. Shatter the mirror. Oh yeah, shatter the mirror. Oh yeah, shatter the mirror. Shatter the mirror. Yeah, I gotta change the way I see myself. Shatter the mirror. I gotta change the way I see myself. Shatter the mirror.
Finishing off this 2025 interview retrospective here on isletunes, that was Aging Disgracefully with Shatter the Mirror, the album of the same name being released in early October. Down with ageism. That's not the way I really wanted to phrase it, but I'm trying to be good. I think Santa is still listening. I thank you for listening to this final episode of 2025. I can't believe we're wrapping up yet another year. These mofos seem to be going faster and faster, don't they? Holy frig. But isletunes will indeed be back next year, which we can now also technically define as next week, and the first installment of 2026, if all goes right, will bring you the wonderful strange mind of Norm Strangely, so y'all are gonna want to come back for that. 26 is my favorite number. Don't know why. Picked it when I was a kid who decided he needed to have a favorite number and he gravitated toward that one. So I'm hoping 2026 is a harbinger of good things to come. Yeah, for myself, of course, duh, but for you guys too. And let's all try to be a little kinder the next 370 days or so. This world could sure use more of that right about now. Mad respect to Alley Cat, who recently subscribed to the isletunes YouTube channel. Doing that yourself not only lets y'all know when new episodes go up, which can be helpful since I don't always make my Friday night deadline, but it puts the show in the pile of recommended videos that YouTube recommends. And that can only be helpful because still far too many people don't know about this podcast. Since I can't go door to door to 182,000 people, anything you can do to help helps. That also means reposting stuff I slap onto the show's Facebook and Instagram pages. I appreciate the assistance. And you. Musical contribution to the isletunes theme by Kaylin McCauley and John Hashem. Show concept by Rocky O'Neill. Coordination assistance by Jackie Robichaux. I'm Adam Michael James, and I don't know how, but the planet made it through 2025, though we still have a few days left. We'll see if I still feel this way next Thursday. Here's something that should have been on Christmas cards, but somehow hasn't become a thing yet. If you don't like or understand how someone's living, but they're not actually hurting you or themselves, leave them alone. It's not for us to be judging people or trying to control them or make them act like us or all of the above. All the more a timely send-off for 2025, then, to remember the words of Dutch diplomat Gijs de Vries. Ultimately, freedom and democracy are stronger than fear and tyranny. You know it. Thanks for listening, PEI. See you in 2026.